everyone and welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Zero. I'm a professional photographer, videographer and video editor, and on today's video we're gonna do a Lightroom tutorial. And more specifically, we're gonna talk about one of my favorite topics, which is shortcuts. So we're gonna talk about 7 shortcuts that I use all the time when I'm editing pictures in Lightroom, and I find them super useful and I think you're gonna love them as well. So I think it's time to move to Lightroom. Shortcut number 1, Command plus apostrophe. What this shortcut does is that it basically creates virtual copies of your original photo. You can also include your Lightroom edits if you want to, but this is really up to you. It depends on the stage when you're making this virtual copy available to you. Once you have your virtual copy ready, you can start processing it without basically affecting your original photo. This way you can create multiple copies of one image, but the important thing is that these copies, they do not actually take a lot of space in your hard drive. What Lightroom actually does is that creates a thumbnail of your original picture rather than a duplicate of your original picture, if that makes sense. So you don't have to worry about space and stuff like that when it comes to virtual copies. I use this all the time, and this is because I like to try different edits for my pictures. I'd like to try different styles, different types of editing, and I want to be able to do all these without affecting my original file or without having to, choose between what I have to do. I want to have all my options there available for me to be able to choose what I want to use in the end. So let's say that we have this picture. So if I click Command plus apostrophe, I get a second picture right here. So this is 1 out of 2, which is my original file, and next to it, this one, it's 2 out of 2, so it's the copy that we just created, and as you can see here, it clearly says that it's a copy of the original picture. And you can start editing this one, you can start creating different styles of edit. I'm just doing random things right now, so you can play with it, and then you can create another copy and do a completely different thing. So Command apostrophe, so this is the second copy that we have, copy number 2, and here you can do a completely different edit comparing to the previous one, but you still have both and you can still choose which one you actually like and which one you're gonna go for. So I use this feature all the time because I like experimenting with my pictures. I like to try different styles, and I also find it very helpful when it comes to client work because you can show to your client different types of editing and they can choose what they want to go for, what style is more appropriate to, their campaign or something like that. So this is really, really helpful. Shortcut number 2, hit L on your keyboard. I really love this shortcut. Check it out. I love this feature. I love this shortcut. And what it actually does, you basically dim out the lights in Lightroom. So now you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the edits that you have done without having any distractions from the sliders or from the, from the rest of the software's interface in general. If you hit L for the second time, let's check it out, you get this completely blacked out, and this is amazing. So if you hit L once, you dim your lights by 80%. If you hit L twice, you dim your lights 100%, so lights off. And I find this really useful because I feel that when you spend a lot of hours editing pictures, tweaking colors and tones, it's the same thing with video editing actually, or with audio as well. If you work a long time at the same thing, you kind of lose perspective. So I feel that apart from taking breaks quite often, you also need to get the distractions out of your screen. So this is a great way to do it if you want to check how your picture looks without any distractions. Shortcut number 3, F on your keyboard. So let's check that out. Use the same picture here and hitting F. And this is what happens. You get a full view of your picture without having any distractions again. There is no other distraction on your screen. It's total black in the background. And this is another great way to check on your picture, see how it looks, and see if you're on the right way when it comes to editing. However, I have to mention that when you hit F, you don't get such an immediate response as you do when you hit L on your computer. So basically, in order to get this full screen view, Lightroom needs a few seconds to process it. Shortcut number 4, hit V on your keyboard. Check it out. Black and white. immediately. This is amazing because I know that there are out there a lot of people who really love black and white photography. So this shortcut, guys, is for you. And this is great because you can try different styles, different types of editing, and then in the end you think like, oh, you know what, how would this picture look if it was black and white? And hit VIP and boom, there you go, it's ready to see it and check it out. So I think that this is great, and let's go to the next shortcut, which is J on your keyboard. So what J actually does is that it allows you to check if you have any blown highlights in your image or if you have any clipped shadows. So just to give you an example, in this specific image right here, if I hit J, I get these blue areas right here, which means that these areas of my image are basically clipping. And more specifically, you get blue for clipped shadows and you get red for blown highlights. So if, for example, I pull the exposure all the way up, I start getting rid of the blue areas, but I start having some little red areas, as you can see, and as I go higher, I get all my highlights blown. So this shortcut comes really handy when your naked eye cannot really tell you the truth. There are some times that you cannot really see if something is clipping or is just too bright or too dark, but the information is still there. So hitting J on your keyboard will tell you the honest truth. Shortcut number 6 is the backlash key. And what you can achieve with this shortcut is that you can see your before and after when you're editing. I can't stress enough how important this shortcut is. And I think that there is no actually reason to explain why, because it's so obvious. You always want to go back and forth when you're editing to see at what stage you are at the moment, comparing to the beginning, what you like or what you want to change. So going back and forth all the time, for me it's like literally all the time, like every 5 seconds. So I think it's really helpful. Let's see an example here. So I have this picture that I have edited already. I want to check how it was at the beginning, just hitting backlash, and here we go. This is the before and this is after. To be honest with you, I think this is the shortcut that I use the most, and this is because like every single tweak that I'm doing on a slider, I immediately want to go back and check how the original file was. So I keep hitting backlash on my keyboard like the whole time. And this brings us to the last shortcut of today's video, which is shortcut number 7, C on your keyboard. And this is what you get. Compare view. And this is really useful because sometimes you might want to have similar processing and similar style of editing for 2 or more pictures, and this is a really good way to compare the two and just see where you are standing at, because it's not always copy paste that works. Mainly when you have different lighting condition, copy paste the settings from the one picture to the other, it's not really gonna work. So you have to compare the pictures and see, and do it manually. So these are my 7 favorite shortcuts in Lightroom that I use all the time. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hope you learned something new, and I would be really interested to know what is your favorite shortcuts, because maybe by now you know that I am obsessed with shortcuts. Maybe you don't, I don't know. So let me know in the comments below what is your favorite shortcut. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and of course subscribe to this channel as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.